Martin Luther, who ministered during the plague, has a quote. It's a lengthy quote, but I wanted to read it for you. It comes from something he wrote in 1522 on an Advent Sunday. But those who rejoice in God, let him be enough so that they have peace with God. That is, let God be enough for you. Remain courageous in affliction. They do not seek the peace that reason grants, namely the cessation of trouble. Instead, they stand firm and depend on inner strength through faith. Luther is talking about the fact that there is a kind of peace that we can seek through reason, just through trying to work our way through. We tell ourselves, well, wait a minute, the coronavirus will pass. And hey, wait a minute, earthquakes don't happen that often. And, things could be worse. And we talk ourselves down that way. The problem is then we tune into media and it tells us something else. Or we talk to somebody else and we get anxious again. There's this kind of peace that reason can bring, but it usually isn't sustained. Luther recognizes that. So he goes on. They do not ask whether the trouble will be short, long, temporal, or eternal. They do not consider or worry how the end will come about. They will always leave it to God's jurisdiction. That is, the peace of God rests in the fact that God will work things through and he will do right. They do not want to know when, how, where, and through what. That is, if we're trusting in the peace of God, we're not concerned about when's it all going to get over with. We're just contented to rest. God acts mercifully to them and brings their trouble to such an end with so great a benefit that no one could have ever imagined or asked for. God's bringing stuff about through difficult circumstances, the like of which we couldn't imagine. Luther goes on. See, this is called the peace of the cross, the peace of God, the peace of conscience, Christian peace, which causes a person to be externally at rest, at peace with everyone, and at war with none. Reason cannot grasp or cause this, that a person in the midst of cross-bearing has joy. In the midst of unrest, rest. It's a work of God, which no one recognizes except the one who has experienced it. Luther eloquently here reminds us that God gives a peace that reason can't reason.